Truth hangs heavy upon the air itself.
You come here often. I don't know what you did, but you just released a source flood. I thought I'd come and see what all the fuss was about. Should have known you were getting yourself into trouble. Looks like the big moment has finally arrived. I will do everything I can to support you, Godwoken. I will pray for you. Don't underestimate the power of true prayer. This is a place of incredible power where a single prayer holds the weight of thousands. Your heart, consider it a taste of your divine future. The people will pray for you. In turn, they'll trust you to do right by them, as I'm trusting you to do now. Of course, it's up to you whether or not to listen. I know how I'd respond, but you do you.
Melody wearily chuckles to herself, then bows her head in a show of unexpected but sincere reverence.
Looks like my investment's paid off after all.
I need worship only one divine, and I believe he stands before me now.
You've shown me kindness in the face of my sins. My worship is the least I can offer.
I've always preferred to be the one reaping the attention, but you've turned the tables. I suppose it's only right, seeing as how a new divinity may stand before me.
Now go. Rivellon needs a new divine.
Well, this is it. My goodness. Here we are, Quercus. This is it? What do you mean, Quercus? Of course I'm prepared. I have my noble steed below me, and my trusted shield beside me. What more could I need?
His whiskers crack into a mischievous smile.
And I may have cracked the spell that will stop the great acorn in its furious tracks, if that's what you mean. That's...
Sir Laura turns to you, his beady eyes shining with pride.
I owe you an apology, Shield. At the start of our journey, I wouldn't have believed a dwarf would lead me to the discovery that would save us all. But I see now that my prejudice was foolish. Without you, Quercus and I might still be stuck on that abominable prison island. Now here I am. Here we are, on the brink of saving the world. Indeed, Quercus and I will find an advantageous location and do just that. Meanwhile, you must prevent the servants of the Acorn from interrupting us.
Sir Laura takes a slow, deep breath and lets it out in a rush.
You feel it, don't you? It's so still, but there's something behind it too, like a thunderclap waiting to fall. The great Acorn is nearly here. Its servants are poised for impact. We've known this moment would come. Now it is time to put my research to the test. I am ready. Quercus is ready. And you, Shield?
Sir Laura nods in return and grabs your pinky with his tiny paw.
No matter what happens next, Shield, there's something Quercus and I want you to know. It has been an honor. Now, onward!
Marcus, Beast. Godwoken, Dallas told me about you. You must be as hard as diamonds, and twice as bright, to have come so far. Your divine welcomes you.
The divine you thought dead lords over the chamber from a granite throne. He moves to speak, but it's Riedeman's voice that next pierces the air.
What a twist.
Lucian frowns at Riedemann, then bestows a benevolent smile upon you. All that you know of him flashes across the panorama of your mind.
I underestimated you, Godwoken. You have proven to be a formidable foe. You have my respect.
Respect? Indeed.
Lucian's gaze rests upon you and goes through you. He
Lucian, we should tell him the truth.
Yes, I agree. It is time we dropped our masks.
Dallas nods, then reaches for the sides of her head. Where there was one face, suddenly there are four. She takes off the mask of the shapeshifter. A skull is revealed, bejeweled and ancient as the void.
I am eternal.
Aren't they just full of surprises?
Fear not, Godwoken. Dallas is on the side of all that is good. She is helping me rid Rivellon of the influence of the Source. Listen to her.
I shall tell you the tale as I told it to Lucian. Long ago, the scholar Fane discovered that the veil between the world and the void was made of Source. Our 7 lords desired this power.
Of course.
Silence, slave. Our king forbade the 7 to reach for this power, but they didn't listen. Instead, they rebelled and sent the king and his people into the void.
With the Source they stole from the veil. The 7 created the races so they would have worshippers.
Really? I'm shocked.
Shut your mouth, Godwoken. I tell you the truth.
He hesitates, then he swallows his pride.
Here is the truth. I have killed thousands, perhaps millions, for the greater good. But I made a mistake. It was my use of death fog that opened the door to the God King. It upset the veil and took the 7 by surprise. My one mistake meant all those sacrifices were for naught. Those sacrifices must have meaning.
I seek vengeance against the king and against the 7.
There is more, but she hesitates to share it. Then she decides that she must.
I was a child when the God King tore my family apart. I was purged of Source and left to rot in a putrid tomb. A child. It was hell. A hell I suffered for the sins of my father. He was the one that betrayed the God King. The cruel joke of it all is that the same tomb that housed my tortured body is what sheltered me from the void. Few Eternals escaped that fate. Myself, my mother, and Fane. Yes, Fane is my father.
What? No. It can't be. Everything Dallas did. It was all you. Child.
Everything I did to fix your mistake. Our people, every purged sorcerer, every dead magister, all those weeping families. They're on your head, father. But now I have revenge. Revenge on the 7 and the God King. Revenge for what they took from me. My life. My people. My mother!
The hammer's voice falters and her coolness vanishes. Every crack and rasp betrays her grief. But her next words burn not with sadness, but anger.
Did you even look for me? Did you even look for her?
Dallas, control yourself. Our purpose transcends your personal wounds.
Yes. You.
Dallas's reasons weren't mine to question. All that ever mattered to me was peace. Peace for Rivellon. Peace for me, whatever the means. And now, we are on the precipice. While Dallas sought the Aetheran, I started draining the gods of their source.
Slurp, slurp, slurp.
One more word from you, and I shall use...
I had to hide from the gods. So I had the walls of this crypt equipped with tenebrium and protections put in place. It worked. Everyone, even the gods, thought me dead. As divine, I was created, empowered to stop the void. I was the avatar of the 7, their strength and their weakness. My bond to them allowed me to drain them of their source.
The Aeterran now contains almost all of the source the Seven stole. Soon, we will be able to heal the Veil.
The void shall be banished, and I, Lucian the Divine, shall return from the dead. A false divine, of course. I shall have no power. But the world will not know this. I shall demand peace, and we shall have it.
The plan is almost complete.
We have made so many sacrifices, Godwoken. All of us. Of ourselves and those we love. One last sacrifice is required. For the future of Rivellon, you must surrender your source.
Decide. Be the true hero and give up your source, or be forced to submit. Like a coward.
There is no other way. The source of the world is required to close the veil. We only lack yours.
Then let us proceed. Show some responsibility, Father! Surrender your source!
Sealing the veil will lock our people away forever. They will never be free of the void. Though if they return...
Fane turns to you. In all the time that you've traveled together, you've never seen him like this. He's trembling with emotion.
And you, my fellow adventurers. Together we have seen more than generations of mortals could ever see. You have seen the horrors of the void, and I have seen this world through your eyes. You showed me how beautiful it really was. There is no one else I would trust to make this choice. Whatever you decide, I will follow.
You'll be a hero. Everyone will know the sacrifice you'll make. Your name will be synonymous with the survival of Rivellon.
Lucian's right. We can save the world from the void. We should make the sacrifice.
But our souls, there has to be another way.
No. Never.
Good.
Yes, very good.
She raises what looks like a leash. A chuckle emerges from beneath Vredeman's hood. The chuckle becomes a guffaw, booming and hateful. Dallas flicks her wrist. And nothing.
Oh, Dallas. Sweet, simple Dallas.
How? What? The leash is cut!
A bright observation from a bilious imbecile. You know people often become sloppy when they're close to achieving their dream. You left the leashing wand next to me, you stupid maggot. So accustomed had you become to me, pretending to be your slave.
Kill him.
Do shut up, you tedious buffoon. And don't look so surprised. As if I would allow a bone bag to enslave me. Yes, I am the one true king of the Source. He who shall be God of the Source. Or did you really think I'd play slavishly along with your ridiculous scheme, Dallas? Yes, I played my part of the servile stooge. But know this, it was only about the power of divinity.
Kill him now.
Too late, you moldering, blight-stained pigs. Grant me power, my ally. God King, I call on you! The God King hears my call. He sends a companion worthy of my power. Come to your father. Come to the Source King.
fracas rests, the Source King of Legend lies dead once more, perhaps even for good. Dallis, badly weakened, looks to you.
The future of all that is depends on you.
Well then, this is, as they say, it. I never dreamed that after all this, I would be standing here with one of your kind. Let alone that I would be proud to do so. I cannot imagine someone I would trust more with divinity.
Fane lays a bony hand on your shoulder, squeezing gently.
Do you know, I believe you will.
Listen, this is it. Again. And I want you to know I'm not putting up a fight, not against you. My revels are now ended. Yours are about to begin. I've had my vengeance, my life and my liberty. You helped me win them back. And then, when you told me you loved me, all of me awoke. All I want now is for this to end. To be by your side when we wage the final battle. And long, long after. I know you do. And I love you too. Now kiss me.
You kiss each other passionately, ready to face the darkest dark.
Here we stand, once more on the cusp of divinity. But this cup, so long thirsted for, I willfully let it pass from me. All my life has been a lead-up to this, to be the King of Kings, God of Gods. I will not say it was in vain, but I will say it was vanity. If I were to chance upon my throne right now, I would sit down beside it, cast my glance to the horizon, and I'd think of Sadher, my great love. I'd think of my children, their joyous dance through fiery skies. And of course I'd think of you, of the adventures we had, of our... Yes, I'd sit there, thoroughly contented, and wait for you to ascend the throne.
He smiles and stretches his arm, inviting you to lead the way.
After you, my lord.
You think back on your journey here, on all that you have seen and done. You think of the Magisters, and the sorcerers they hunted, and of the good and the evil on both sides. You think of how the Eternals came as Voidwoken to reclaim their stolen world. You look at the source around you. The power is immense. Divinity at your fingertips. You think of what you could do with such power. The rights you'd wrong, the wars you'd win. You marvel at your journey and how it has changed you. You think of those you left behind, and of those you met along the way, who stood by you or against you. It's time to choose your fate, and the fate of all you hold dear. What shall it be? Shall you be divine? After all that you have been through, and all that you have done, all that you have become, the Aetheran lies in front of you. Divinity is yours to take, or to sacrifice. What you do next decides your own fate and the future of the world. What shall you do with divinity?
So it ended. A tale that began with my own ill-fated attempt to rid the world of the Godwoken. A new divine rose, a true heir to the Seven, more powerful than ever, and united Rivellon in its battle against the Void. All across the realm he was loved, worshipped, and adored. Humans, lizards, elves and dwarves all rallied to his banner. The great allegiance stood once more, but the war continued. From the depths of the void, the God King still sought to return. As for me, my last hope of ever being freed of the God King's terrible tyranny faded when the god woke and claimed divinity. An eternity of pain and suffering is mine. I cling now to the dream that one day the veil will be sealed, that one day I can be freed, that one day a new god woken will rise.
Well, well, look what the cat dragged in. A god, no less.
He smiles at you fondly as he takes you by the hand.
You've done us proud. You saved the world, didn't you? No, we were all of us instrumental, but only one walked away with divinity. I'm glad it was you. Home, if you don't mind. After all, I've dragons to raise. I need to teach them to be good boys and girls before they set the entire world on fire. There may be an accident or two along the way. Please don't hold it against them. I do so long to see my palace again. The Forbidden City. The sense of spices and incense. The sound of sitars in far-off rooms. To sit all day in perfumed shade and watch the white of the marble change with the journey of the sun. But above all, I long to be with Sadha. Long to finally have the time to love. Oh, but before you go, remember how when we first met, I took you by the jaw to inspect your teeth? A while, not ages. Had you partaken in my little questionnaire, I'd have assessed your cooking skills, fashion sense, and regard for personal hygiene. I don't think I'm stretching any hypothetical truths when I assume I'd have found you lacking in all three departments. Still, I'm nothing if not a tolerant man who believes in individual growth. I'm sure the journey taught you much. As such, I'd like to offer you what was denied to you before. The opportunity to become my slave. What say you? Well, only the best for the Red Prince. Surely you must realize that by now.
Melody stands tall and proud, sunlight sparkling off her mask. From here, she looks almost angelic.
Well, here we are again. You, me, and the ship I've saved from ruin for your personal benefit. I'd say you owe me, but why state the obvious? Let an eye fool, Your Holiness. I expect it's the last we'll see of each other for some time.
She turns to you, arms crossed, and grins.
Look at you. Magnificent. Actually, I've never looked better. Except for one small thing.
She fingers the mask covering her face. For a moment, it seems as though she's about to remove it. But
we've come a long way together. I did my best by you all the way. I sacrificed much. But I'd give even more to see you become exactly what you've become. Soon, I'd like to have a little chat about something you can do for me. But I believe that can wait. Relax. Enjoy. I certainly plan to do the same. Oh, I don't know, around and about. Treat myself to some mead, a lover or 300. I'd say we've earned it. And when the time comes, I'll come find you. Your Holiness.
I've never been fond of what the Divine stands for, but I must say, It's rather exciting to say I've been up close and personal with one. Reform my ways. How adorable. No, I'm afraid I cannot escape who I am and what I've done.
Her eyes flick down to your mouth. She smiles coyly, then slinks forward to kiss you. Her mouth meets yours and devours you with predatory abandon. Somewhere in the recesses of your mind, you think you hear her voice sigh, "mine." But then the kiss ends.
Something to remember me by, darling. Who knows? A nice cottage someplace quiet for Mahalia and I. A roaring fire and a feather bed. Maybe. But a girl needs some fun, doesn't she?
You're the new Divine. That's so cool. What's it like? Neat. I'll be counting on you. There's also the matter of my payment for all the stuff I've done for you. That'll be...
He taps his fingers and mouths silently while he counts, until he arrives at an acceptable figure.
1,300,000 dozen and 50 gold pieces. Now pay up. Oh yeah? What's that?
Han ponders your suggestion for all of a second.
You got it. But you better believe the bill for that will be a doozy.
Losa winks and curtsies in playful reverence. Her spectral gaze twinkles.
Well, if it isn't the new Divine gracing me with his presence.
Tarquin's smirk wilts into a glow.
I didn't come all this way to show deference. Some friendly advice. All who rise are capable of falling. Gods, the Divine, anyone. Remember, that is the question, isn't it? How does one top the greatest feat of necromancy ever conceived? No, of course you wouldn't. It's a written language, unreadable to most. I intend to seek them out. This Gustafjan seems to guard portals to their...
Well, well, Quirkers. Look who finally graced us with their presence. I suppose some thanks are in order. What? No, you should be thanking me. I just saved the world from the great acorn. You're welcome, by the way. Honestly, Quirkers, some creatures have no sense of perspective.
A huge grin slowly spreads across the squirrel's small face.
Of course, had you not stopped this God King and his lackeys, there would have been very little left for me to say.
The cat moves forward, twisting around your legs and filling the air with the sound of dry, dusty...
Ah, Quirkers! Please, have a little decorum. This battle is won, my friend, but we still have a war to fight. We've undone the great acorn, but the Knights of Dre are still out there. They summoned the great acorn once. They will be able to summon it again. We have to destroy their order, once and for all. That is the future Quirkers and I have ahead of us. We no longer need a shield, but we are very happy to have a friend.
The squirrel tenses for half a moment before relaxing into your fingers.
Ah! Oh, hi, Quirkers. You never told me it felt this good. Well, that was certainly An experience. Of course, this has all been something of an experience, eh? I don't suppose any of us did. I never thought I would be proud to have befriended a giant. But there is no one Ow! Crackers! There is no one that we would rather have walked this world with. I do not know what comes next for you. Come, Crackers. We must... Oh, I think you have something in your eye, my friend.
The cat curls up and snuggles into his squirrel friend, who quietly sits and sniffs on the deck.
Amazing I'm still here. That we're still here. That Lucian... Well, that relationship always was complicated, wasn't it? You're so much like him. My instincts tell me to kneel to the new divine. I've done so before, after all. But I can't drive myself to do it again.
Gareth beams. For the first time, he is his own man. Yet his enthusiasm is not a man's, but a child's.
A friend, yes. That I know how to be.
For a moment, his mind wanders to memories of friends and enemies, of malady and magisters, of demons and divinity. He is then in the present once more, and smiles at you.
Friends. I find a way to fit. I wasn't just content to lurk in Lucian's shadow. I was his shadow. Now I stand in the sun as my own man, and so I find out. My goal is to have a goal, if that makes sense at all. And if it doesn't, well...
Darling, there you are. Come, let me take a look at you. I've never known a god before they became divine. I was curious if it would have changed you.
She gives you a long, assessing look, but makes no immediate comment. She paces around you like a cat, looking you over.
Well, you certainly look the same. But there's something in the air around you. It vibrates ever so slightly. There's magic in it. Power. Don't you feel it? Maybe you should give it a bit of time. I imagine it takes almighty power a little while to settle in. That quite depends on you, I suppose. Is a deity permitted to mingle among us mortals?
She laughs, and it's music to your soul.
I certainly hope so. We love each other after all.
A kiss, and oh, how sweet she tastes.
Love conquers even divinity.
Thane is reading a volume of Cranley Hubert's famous encyclopedia. He leafs through it slowly, muttering.
Interesting.
His eyes stay fixed on the book as you approach. Thane looks up, his gaze carefully drinking you in.
Fascinating. The power of my people. The power of the veiled. All in one delicate mortal shell. Who could have imagined? The powers of the universe rushing through your body and you feel strange? Heavens no.
The skeleton looks back to the book. You can feel the grief radiating from him.
I can't help thinking that I could have saved them. That I could have done something. I could have done more. So, perhaps could they? Had they decided to live in peace with the mortals of Riverlon, Maybe we could have saved them. But they made their choices, and I made mine. You could have saved them, but you didn't. You made your choice. Don't misunderstand. I made my choice too. That doesn't mean I cannot mourn them, though. They deserve that much.
The skeleton hefts Hubert's dog-eared encyclopedia, its weight heavy in his hands.
I've been rereading this book, looking over your history once again, poring over every detail with a new perspective, and do you know what? It's shit.
Thane tosses the book over his shoulder. It flutters in the air.
If you have spent your life staring at a thing, you can write about it with knowledge. You can write about it with love. But it is almost impossible to write about it. You creatures have spent your lives trudging about this world, and you've grown blind to its miracles. Take otters, for example. Energetic, waterproof cats, or octopuses. Did you know they're secretly octopuses? Octopi? Octopods? I shall have to look that up. Regardless, the world is filled with absolutely incredible sights. And who better to catalogue them with the awe they deserve than someone seeing them for the first time? Do you know, there is the idea that nothing is ever true. I suppose we are all Source, just in different forms. You being the cruder, less jewel-encrusted form, but my people were Source too. Although we didn't know it at the time. In a way, I was walking alongside the best version of them the entire... In you, I found a home better than the one I was pining for. Thank you, Godwalker.
It gives me almost as much pleasure to speak to you as it does to be whole again. Consider me to be a gift from Malady. My wood was splintered, but my spirit intact. It was a great feat, but I feel better than you. I cannot say whether the future brings peace or pain, but I will always be an ally to those that carry Source, to those whose blood is of the heroes of old. And so, as always, I am at the ready.
You look out to the endless beyond. The sun's light plays upon the waves, just as it always did. The sails flutter in the wind, just as they always will. And yet, something is different. You are different. And with a start, you realize where you must go next. You speak the command to the Lady Vengeance, and another chapter begins. War raged on. Arx remained the center of power as the races united behind the Divine. But the Voidwoken attacks continued as they did elsewhere. Arx would see many more long years of war. The ancient empire of lizards became one of the pillars of the new Divine Alliance. The houses of war and of shadows were particularly useful in the fight against the God King. The Empire used the war to expand its territory. Justinia returned to her throne. Under her rule, the Dwarven Kingdom fought for the Divine, and her loyalty was unquestionable. Many fine and courageous dwarves did their people great honor, in battle and in death. With Lucian gone, the elves reluctantly rejoined the Divine Alliance. Their place in the war on the Void would entirely depend on the integrity of the new Divine. And on the integrity of the elven Godwoken who did not ascend. And here and there, across the world, what was left of the Black Ring fought on. The island of Fort Joy remained a sorcerer's paradise, a place of exile for those whose sorcery threatened to bring in the Void. For their well-being, its residents depended entirely on the benevolence of the new divine. Reaper's Coast struggled on. The farms and the fisheries fought to feed the people against the void-woken blight. The black pits took fire. The oil there burns still. Driftwood teetered on the edge of starvation until the night the Voidwoken came from the sea. All were killed. This did, however, put an end to the famine. The nameless isle had vanished. Although only open water remained, by instinct ships would steer clear. None of the captains could articulate why. Arks battled on. Sir Gareth thanked the surviving Seekers for their service and gave them their freedom. Disillusioned with ongoing war, he set out alone to find a new purpose. He would never stop seeking. Young Han grew up a warrior and became one of the Alliance's greatest generals. But even he could not win the war. Almira and Mihaili settled in an abandoned homestead. The locals liked and respected Almira. She never wanted for help, and deals always fell to her favor. Outsiders were often suspicious, but no local would speak against her. With a new divine at the helm, Malady had a powerful ally, but she was in no hurry to call in her favor. After all, it might be the last thing she ever did. Having performed the greatest act of necromancy in history, Tarquin found the new world unchallenging. He became obsessed with rumors of another plane of existence. One day he vanished and was never seen again. Ahu the wizard served the new divine with honor, wisdom, and an at times unnerving feline elegance. The undead priestess Gratiana remained in her sanctuary, happy to wait for the war to pass. She was troubled only by the silence of her goddess. Jehan the demon hunter never stopped hunting for demons. Sahala sought to strengthen the Elven alliance with the new divine. Her powers of sight proved useful in the ongoing war against the Void, but she could never be sure that the new divine trusted her. Tova, her mother, was Sahala's most trusted warrior. Fane traveled Rivellon, notebook in hand, recording the wonders he discovered. He kept a socket peeled for signs of the Eternals, hoping to find the wife he had lost. He's still looking. Sabine wandered the world. She became a household name, famed the realm over as a traveling hero, celebrated wherever she went. Enjoying life to the fullest, she was truly and finally free. On his return to the Empire, the Red Prince was hailed a hero. He married Sada, and they had many more dragons. Soon, the prince became the Emperor. Faced with dragons, the Void did not gain the upper hand in the Empire. And then there was you. You, Marcus Miles, Beast of the Sea, the Dwarven Divine. What did you do with your power? What kind of divine were you as the world battled on? Did you show mercy or strength? Did you sacrifice others as Lucian had done? Did you regret becoming divine? Did you wish you'd surrendered the power that runs through your veins and sealed the veil? Only you know the truth. Only you know if you atone for your sins.